Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA, episode 263. I am Brendan. UFC Fight Night, Song Yadong versus Ricky Simón. We're going to cover the main card here. We're going to do the prelims in the next video. This one's going to cover the main event, and then Borralho versus Michal, Oleksiejczuk, Rodolfo, Vieira versus Cody, Brundage, and the rest of the main card here. Real quick, before we start getting into it, we're going to break it down round by round. If you're looking for a specific fight breakdown, the timestamps are down below. If you like this kind of stuff, subscribe to the channel so the next video is coming out. It helps me out too, and I appreciate it. All right, let's get started. Song Yadong. Oh, man, this wasn't... I was hoping this would be more competitive. Just wasn't, man. Just wasn't. Start to finish. There was a couple rounds where it was like, maybe, but it wasn't. Simón was kicking at range, not throwing anything yet. Song landing his first leg kick at 3 minutes and 40 seconds. So he started this first round really slow, and I saw some people giving this first round to Simón. I could see that, but I just didn't. Nice double jab from Simón with the right hand. Simón on the clinch. Song able to reverse along the fence and back out into the middle. Simón was landed a right hand. Nice double jab and a right from Simón again. Song with a hard low kick and a left hand. It was a close round. I leaned towards Song for the harder shots that he landed, especially that body shot. He landed this really, I didn't say it. A hard body kick from Song. He did get outlanded 12-11 because it was, in favor of Simón, but I felt like the damage went to Song. So I gave him that first round 10-9, but it was close. Song landing the low kick here in the second round, really hard. Simón trying to land the jab. Song landing the left hook, then the right hook. Simón went down for a second, then Simón gets the takedown. Song gets right back up. The knockdown was actually a clash of heads, which sucks. I thought the knockdown was from a punch, but we've seen that in the past couple of weeks. That has happened. Hard shot to the body from Song. Nice left hand from Song. He lands it again. Hard left hook to the body again as Simón tries to circle. Simón ends the round with a takedown, trying to land some ground and pound, but that was Song's round. 25-15 in favor of Yadong. Simón gets a double, then they get right back up here in the third round. Song landing the right hand. Simón doubling up on the jab. Song landing a hard left hook to the nuts. Really nice nut shot there. Song landing the low kicks when they don't exchange for a while. Song lands a left to counter the jab, and Simón backs up. Song with another headbutt, and then Simón complained about it at the end of the round. I have it 30-27, so if you have it 20-13 as striking numbers in favor of Yadong in this round, it's kind of unfortunate, Yadong has... Well, he leads with the head, and then that caused the clash of heads in the second round, and then in the third round, he hits him low, and then also leads in with the head right at the end of the round and causes a clash of heads. It's really unfortunate. I don't know how much that changed the outcome of the fight, but I hate seeing when a fighter is careless with the way that they're moving, and it's causing an adverse effect to their opponent through what essentially is illegal means. And it sucks. I don't like seeing that kind of stuff. All right. Song was landing hard shots to the body. Simón covering up. Song lands a hook to the body again. Those hard leg kicks again. Simón landing the jab, but he just doesn't have any power on his shot. Song dropped him with the left hand to end the round. Best shot of the fight so far, 27-15 in favor of Yadong. Simón landing the jab again. Song lands a hard right hand, and then Song landing a left hook to drop Simón again. Song follows up and gets the finish here in the fifth round. It was I thought it was one-way traffic after that first round. You look at the striking numbers here, 22-5 here in the last round. He outstruck him in every round but the first. He outdamaged him in every round, in my opinion. It just seemed like Simón could never get started. Every time he would try to move in to do something, Song would counter really well. Simón wasn't his more aggressive self. He wasn't moving in, doing the stuff that he normally does, going for takedowns, stringing together attempts with striking. He wasn't doing any of that stuff. It was not Simón's night. I don't think that's a good matchup for him. I think Yadong is insanely good for this division. That being said, I've seen him fight. He called out Marlon Vera. I I think that's a good matchup. Marlon Vera coming off of his first loss in a while. Song Yadong. Obviously, they fought before to a controversial split decision win. Oh, unanimous decision. My bad. Controversial unanimous decision in favor of Yadong. And then he lost. He should have lost 3 fights in a row. And then fought Casey Kenny, Julio Arce, and Marlon Moraes back in 2022. Then last year he had that loss to Corey Sandhagen. The cut caused the finish in the 4th round. I mean, he was getting tuned up in that fight. That one wasn't close either. So, I mean, seeing him fight, yeah, I think Simone is just, he's got really good skills. He's just in probably the deepest division in the UFC. Right, with the skills that Simone has, if he was at lightweight or heavier, I think he'd be, a top 5 type of guy. Just with that kind of pressure, that cardio, the wrestling base, it's just, it doesn't work here because so many people can counter that. Dominic Cruz still in here. I think him versus Song Yadong would be fun just because Cruz is really not a fan of Team Alpha Fail, so that would be fun. Rob Font would be good. Marlon Vera rematch would be fun. Piotr Jan, I don't feel like these people up here at the top. I don't feel like Yadong has earned a shot against any of these people. So I saw somebody mentioning Sean O'Malley. No, thank you, dude. Sean O'Malley just had he had a close win over Piotr Jan, and he was promised a title shot, and now we're going to make him fight someone on the come up in Song Yadong who's just putting a couple wins together. Come on now. It's not that I think Sean O'Malley is above that level or that, they shouldn't be fighting each other. It's just what he had to go through, and then now he's going to fight down that far. Why? Why would he do that? Why would he make him do that? I mean, Sean O'Malley versus Corey Sandhagen would be fun, but Sean O'Malley was promised a title shot, so let's see what happens with that. And then obviously you have Merab Dvalishvili, who I think destroys almost everybody in this division. I think that's what it is. So, great win for Song. I think he's I think he has a lot of skills and he keeps improving. He's relatively young still, so it looks like his if he can string it together. The thing is, I saw him last year and his striking against some of the elite strikers, it's not as good. It's still good, but it's not as good. And then you get people who can strike and can grapple. I don't know. But seeing him against Marlon Vera again, I'd be down for that. Find out who the real winner of that fight was. That's not how things work, but I said it. All right, Caio Borralho versus Michal Oleksiejczuk. Oh, Oleksiejczuk looked good until he didn't. Which is really what it came down to. So Borralho landing the hard low kick to start. Michal swinging wide and missing. Nice body shot from Oleksiejczuk. Let's see here. Caio with the takedown attempt and just not finishing with it. It wasn't fitting with what he said because, Caio Borralho said he's like, I'm going to show Oleksiejczuk that his left hand isn't that hard and I'm going to knock him out and this and that. It's not what happened, but hey, sometimes people talk shit like that to get people out of their game, I guess. Borralho complained about a low blow that wasn't there. He just wanted out of the clinch, which was interesting. Nice left hand from Oleksiejczuk. Follows with a left to the body. Caio was attempting takedowns almost like he didn't want to strike, even though he said he did. Borralho gets the back in the body lock and then gets the takedown, and he ends the round landing some damage. So I had it 10-9 for Oleksiejczuk. Oh, wait, no, I didn't. I had Borralho win that first round. I felt like the damage was close enough, and he got that takedown at the end of the round, but it wasn't just that. It felt like he was constantly... You know what? This first round was close. 26-25 in favor of Oleksiejczuk for total strikes, but I felt like Borralho did enough. And then Michal with the pressure right away to start the second. A hard low kick from Borralho. Borralho in on a double, gets it, but Oleksiejczuk gets back up. They go right back down, and then Michal looks just lost on the ground. He does. He just doesn't look like he knows what he's doing down there at all. It's unfortunate to watch a guy with striking power and that kind of stuff who makes it to these levels in the UFC and can't grapple at all, gets taken down there. Then Borralho getting up, yelling like, "I don't finish fights. How about now?" It's like, yeah, you got to finish, dude. Like that's good. All right. Like you've got a lot of decisions in the UFC and you've got 2 finishes now. Like that's good. Yeah, I mean he's on to. Oh, he's got 3 decisions in the UFC, 2 Dana White Contender Series fights. But that's what I'm saying is like he's really good. He's clearly got skills. It's just, right now when he's fighting people who can't grapple, he grapples, and when he's fighting people who can't strike, he strikes. So he's better at those things than the other people he's fighting. And he's good enough to hold people off in the other way. So we'll see. I don't think he's a world beater just yet. Let's see what he can do. I feel like he has a lot of openings. There's a lot of weaknesses that people can take advantage of once he steps up in competition. So if he can shore those things up, I think he can be a real contender with the abilities and the athleticism that he has. Rodolfo Vieira versus Cody Brundage. Boy, this is a tale of 2 rounds, ain't it? Cody Brundage, starting with the low kicks, getting aggressive, hitting hard, making Vieira retreat. Vieira on the clinch. He has a cut above the left eye, lands a low blow with the knee to get a break. Brundage lands a right hand. Vieira is dropped, and he has he lands some good ground and pound. Vieira gets up and gets a takedown, landing some ground and pound himself. It's not enough to take the round for him, but it did show you kind of what was going to happen here in the second round. Brundage outlanded him 20-9, doing way more damage. Obviously, a 10-9 round for him. Second round here, Vieira in on the takedown right away. Brundage goes for a guillotine, then ends up on bottom. Now, a lot of people are criticizing him for going for the guillotine here. I would as well. I think that's not the best technique against a grappler, especially. But if that's something that you can land consistently, and you know that you get your guillotine on a lot of people like that, maybe that's what he's had in practice. But that being said, if it's not your go-to, dude, defend the takedown. Dig for your double unders, dig for the underhook, swim, get underneath there, and fight off the fence. And this, far be it from me to tell a professional fighter how to fight. It's just an odds thing. Statistically speaking, when you go for that guillotine to defend the takedown, most of the time you're getting taken down. And unless you've got a crazy good sweep game from your back or a crazy good stand-up game from your back, I would recommend defending the takedown first. And going for, because it's such a high risk for a medium, I would say medium reward. Because even if you lock the guillotine in, if you can't get the pressure on it, you're not getting the finish. If your hand position slips, if your hands are too sweaty, if your arm is too sweaty, or maybe your arm isn't sweaty enough, maybe your legs are sweaty and you can't get a good grip on the body. There's 1,000 different things that can go wrong with that submission, and you're out of position when you don't get it. Right? If, like I said, if you play your back, if you play off the back and you like to go for that submission to get it to the ground, absolutely. But if that's not your main game, and if that's not what you're playing here, maybe don't go for that one. Maybe defend the takedown first. It's the same thing I see when people go for strikes instead of defending the takedown. Right? Someone's in on a takedown, they try to pity pat the sides of the heads with the palm. Again, every so often you'll get a Travis Brown elbows to the side of the head that do enough damage. But he had already defended the takedown. He spread his legs out wide, and he made his base really heavy, defending against Barnett. And Barnett wasn't able to get the takedown. Then he started landing those elbows, doing the damage, and getting the finish that way. Right? But the defense came first. And that's what you got to do. Again, far be it from me to tell a professional fighter what to do. I know I'm just an idiot, but it's just from what I've seen, statistically speaking, it makes more sense to defend. Julian Erosa taking on Fernando Padilla. Oh, boy. It looked like we were in for a treat. It really did. I thought we were in for a treat. I thought we were in for a really banger of a fight. Classic Julian Erosa fight. And I honestly hope that he gets that he takes this and he petitions to get this reversed to a no contest. So Erosa finding his range and landing some combos, leading with a left hook. Padilla lands a jab, then 2 left hands and a right hand that dropped Erosa. Erosa gets back up. He's fighting back, and then he's getting back, and then all of a sudden the fight stopped. Right, I understand from the look of it when he got punched from that first time. That flash knockdown, it put Erosa on his ass, and it looked bad. And then he got hit again, but he didn't even go down the second time. Not completely, right? His head didn't hit the mat. He put his arm out to stop himself from falling down and immediately stood up, but Castagnoni was already in there stopping the fight. Now, all right, here's where I stand on this. I don't want to take away from what Padilla did, because I felt like he did exactly what he was supposed to do. He landed some really good shots, and he got what was considered a finish. He did a good job. Padilla did nothing wrong here. I thought he looked great with the few strikes that he landed. Now, the stoppage. If they don't stop this fight here, does Erosa come back and win? Who the fuck knows? Right? Nobody knows. You don't know that. I don't know that. Nobody knows. Did it look likely based off what we were seeing? No. But I will also tell you that Julian Erosa has come back from this before. Right? We know that he does get tagged early, and then he has really good cardio, hangs in there, and can land some hard shots of his own. All right, there's that. Now, Padilla, not as familiar with him because he's not a UFC vet. We haven't seen him fight in the UFC. So we don't know if he gasses out. I don't know. Based off his build, I would say probably not. Doesn't seem to carry a lot of extra weight on him. Again, but you don't know. You have no idea. Maybe this being his first UFC fight, he goes out there, tries to get the finish, gasses himself out, and Erosa comes back and beats him. You don't know. Why this is important. You're told backstage to defend yourself at all times. All right? And I saw somebody make the argument that, he wasn't defending himself. He got hit. He didn't defend a single one of those punches in those exchanges. That's not true. He absolutely did. But his defense didn't work. He just got hit. Just because you're defending doesn't mean you can't get hit. So take that logic based off what you just said, right? Saying, oh, well, he didn't defend against any of those punches that came in that sequence. Okay, are you just going to, if someone hits somebody with a 3-piece or a 4-piece combo, right? They go low, come upstairs, hit him with a hard right hand, go low to the body and come over the top of the right hand again. Are we going to stop the fight now because he landed 4 strikes in a row? Well, you weren't defending yourself for those 4 strikes. Obviously not, right? We obviously wouldn't stop that. How about if you just hit someone real hard, right? You kick someone in the head and they go wobbly. Do we instantly stop the fight? No. Why not? Because you have to give the fighter an opportunity to defend himself. Hitting someone hard should not end the fight, ever. That's not, I've seen it too many times recently. And I know I would rather have this, right? I'd rather have them err on the side of caution than letting a fighter get damaged too much. But I also know that we see most of the time the stoppages are fine. So it's okay to point out when they're not. This was not okay. This was a horrible stoppage. Absolutely awful. I hope Julian Erosa petitions to get this reversed to a no contest. There is plenty of video evidence to show that he was actively defending himself. He was there. When the fight was stopped, he was still defending himself, right? If Castagnoni jumped in there on that first knockdown, there's an argument. It's a bad argument because Erosa immediately gets back up, but there's an argument to be made that he could have jumped in there and said, oh, hey, you weren't defending yourself right there. You were clearly out. I'm stopping the fight. Okay. I don't agree with it, and I think it's way early, but that's okay. This one's worse because he stepped in because he got hit hard again, and he thought Erosa was going to go out. And instead of waiting for him to go out or waiting for him to touch the ground, he goes in and stops the fight. Bad stoppage. Horrible stoppage. Right? Everybody loses here. Who thought Padilla won that fight outright? Nobody. He was doing really good things, and he was on his way to a good victory. But that's taken away from him. Erosa loses both on the score, but both in the Wikipedia page and also every other way. We lose because we don't get to see either a satisfying ending or what could have been a really good banger or a great fight. It gets stopped early. Everybody loses. The UFC loses, but in the long run, nobody's going to give a shit, right? It's people like me that are just going to be obsessed with this. They're going to remember, oh, Erosa shouldn't have got this loss. Padilla shouldn't have got this win the way it happened. Chris Tognoni screwed up. But guess what? They're going to see a W or an L on that person's Wikipedia page, and that's all they're going to give a shit about. It's highlighted green or it's highlighted red. That's the way it is. Horrible stoppage. Horrible stoppage. Not even close to a good stoppage. There was nothing about that sequence that said, you should stop this right now. All right, let us move on. All right, Marcos Rogerio de Lima versus Waldo Cortes-Acosta. Cortes-Acosta still can't defend leg kicks, apparently. He also, D didn't yell at him. He didn't just take a leg kick and then scream in the guy's face, which is what his strategy was before. So he has improved slightly, I guess. Let's talk about the fight and then we'll talk about Acosta. De Lima was landing some hard low kicks, really hard, and then a hard left hook a couple times. Acosta landing a hard right hand. De Lima landing those low kicks, making Acosta limp. De Lima getting the body lock takedown. De Lima is the aggressor, landing the low kicks and head control in this round. 10-9 for him. 27-20 as far as significant strikes. Obviously doing more damage. Minute and 35 seconds of control time. Second round here. 3 leg kicks in a row from De Lima, making Acosta back up again. Acosta standing square now, and then that allows him to get taken down. He does, and then De Lima works his way to mount. They get back up. Acosta lands a good right hand, but he took so much damage it did nothing else that round. So you look at the striking numbers, they're in his favor apparently, 19-15. I did not see that. I didn't feel like those were significant enough strikes to really count. But hey, even if you want to count those for him, he was on his back or not in control of the fight for at least 3 minutes and took a ton of damage to that leg to the point where he couldn't move well. So obviously those first 2 rounds go to De Lima. And then the last round here, De Lima is playing it safe and taking it slow. Acosta opening up with the combos now, not landing everything, but this is his best round for sure. De Lima went for a takedown with 50 seconds left, again playing it safe. Waldo gets the last round, but De Lima just coasted. 43-17 for total strikes. Again, I guess he landed that much. I didn't feel like he landed that many. I know he landed a decent amount in this last round, but I don't feel like it was that much. Anyway, okay. First of all, let's talk about De Lima because he did get the win here. 2 wins in a row, one over Andrei Arlovski, which is, a win that you got to win. But he's got that loss to Blagoy Ivanov last year. He's not super active, 2 fights a year kind of guy. One more win puts him in, the rankings category, or the ranking. Let's see. Where does he sit now? He's not ranked, right? No. He could make it into the rankings this year. One more win puts him into the rankings, and then a really big win here, 2 wins. I think he's probably 3 or 4. He might be 3 wins away from a title shot, though. So, what does this mean for Acosta? So, okay. Acosta comes out here and beats Jared Vandera in a weird win where, again, his leg got kicked out from underneath him. Chase Sherman kicked his legs out, and it's Chase Sherman. He loses to everybody. I mean, look at this guy. Not a lot of green on this record, guys. He keeps getting the call from Dana White because he answers and he shows up. Chase Sherman is just he's not a good heavyweight. He's just not. He doesn't have a chin. His striking, he stands up too tall. He just gets hit a lot. It's not great. Acosta's tough, very tough, and he hits hard, and he moves pretty well, and he's got decent cardio. The problem is his fight IQ sucks. If your fight IQ is take leg kicks until I can't move, and then later in the rounds when someone lets me do something, start unloading, you're going to lose a lot. I haven't seen world-ending power from him. I haven't seen anything crazy from him yet. But De Lima's very good. So as far as the ceiling on Acosta, I think he's got, depending on how the division shakes out, I think he's got top 15, top 10 talent as of right now, depending on how he develops. If he can learn how to kick, if he can learn how to avoid being kicked, if he can learn how to use his pressure and his cardio early on in the fights, I think he can. He could probably even break the top 5 in the heavyweight division again, based off how the division shakes out. But that's a lot of ifs. That's a lot of ifs and maybes. But right now, what we have is a skilled fighter, a talented fighter who came, from being I think he was a pitcher. So he's a good athlete. It always bugs me when I see a fighter taking a bunch of shots and then just making a big production out of it. Right? The guy's getting his leg kicked off and just screaming at the guy. Like, okay, yeah. Or someone like shaking their hands or going like this or smiling and doing all these things. Like, dude, I get what you're trying to do. It's not working. Never been a fan of that. But he does have a lot of skills. He does. All right, Josh Quinlan versus Trey Waters. This is weird to watch. Like, really weird. Really weird. Waters is 6'5" at welterweight. Like, that's weird. Weird. 6'5" at welterweight. Weird. Waters kicks out the leg. First thing, Quinlan stays in on a single leg but they get back up. Quinlan was going for low kicks, but Waters keeps countering. Quinlan not finding his way into range early. Waters is countering really well every single time Quinlan moves in. Obviously, that's a Waters round. So 29-12, and that's just the story of the fight. Quinlan never found his range. Quinlan catches him with a left hook. Waters staggers, and then he fires back immediately. Waters landing the jab, keeping the fight at range. Quinlan landing more low kicks. He needs a lot more of those. He did not go to the well enough with those. Waters landing a ton of volume where Quinlan just can't reach. Waters still staying out in front with the volume and the damage. 35-18 in this second round. He actually picked it up every single round. Last round here, Quinlan landing a low kick, staying in the pocket, but Waters landing a ton, and Quinlan backs up. Waters landing a hard right hand, Waters ending the fight, going for the safe option, and getting the takedown. So with the way he ended it, obviously he knew that he was up, and he's just like, well, I'm just going to take him down here, get the win, and move on with my life. And that's great, but the problem is, it doesn't make for the most exciting finish. I think Trey Waters is an interesting puzzle to solve for a lot of people in this division, being so damn tall. Obviously, that loss on the Dana White Contender Series means he can lose. It's just, you got to have the right combo of guys. 6'5" at 170 pounds. That's unbelievable, right? That's supposedly taller than John Jones, but obviously we know that that's not true. All right, that is it. All right, I'll cover the prelims in the next video. I might be putting that out a little bit later. I also covered, if you're interested, I covered the bare knuckle event, BKFC 41, with Luke Rockhold and Mike Perry. I covered that in the last video. If you're interested, go check that one out. Check out my back catalog. I say this all the time. If you're ever watching through old UFC events, old Bellator events over the past year, I probably have a companion piece for that. So if you're bored and you're watching that stuff, go watch my breakdowns on it. Maybe I agree with your stuff, maybe I don't. Go back and comment on them. If you comment on my stuff, I'll probably write back to you. So I appreciate y'all for stopping by. Subscribe to the channel if you like this kind of stuff. See you in the next videos coming out. Hope you guys have an amazing week, and love y'all.